All right, people, we are live. Having a little bit of trouble transitioning the stream and whatnot, but we live. All right. Let me turn this down. All right. So if you guys remember yesterday, if you were here, I okay. If you guys remember yesterday, we were talking about we're talking about a lot of stuff, but one of the things we were talking about Kai Cenat's streaming school, and actually, believe it or not, XQC mentioned it, and he pretty much said the same thing I said. Uh, so I feel a little bit vindicated. That being the case, now is the time to get started on something. If you guys are thinking about streaming, if you guys are thinking about getting into any kind of content creation, I would say go ahead and do it. Um, for the most part, cutting videos is not that's not what it is no more. Everybody's streaming now. That's the final frontier of content creation until something else comes along. But you know, it's neither here nor there. Make some efforts to do something to get out there and start making some money because you don't want to let this golden opportunity pass you by. Now, beyond all that, you guys saw the thumbnail. We are going to answer a very contentious question. And that question is, are women the prize? Right? Everybody wants to get into a relationship. Men and women both. Men and women both want to get into relationships. Uh, that is the biological imperative. It's what we all want. It's what men strive for. It's what women strive for. It's why men work hard. It's why women wear makeup and everything like that. And let me do a quick sound check. All right. Got to monitor myself. It's why we do what we do, right? It's why we do what we do as people. But at the end of the day, somebody, in our society, we are always striving to see who's the prize. Americans are very prideful. They're very competitive. So in recent years, the conversation of who's the prize, the man or the woman, has come up, and that's what we're going to answer. And the reason I want to answer this question is just because I came across an interesting video. Now, you guys know I'm a big fan of Coach Greg Adams, and he just happened to be doing a stream, and he kind of mentioned this, right? He kind of mentioned it, and he was talking about. I'll just show you. I'll just show you the video. He was basically somebody in his chat basically said women are the prize, and he had a very interesting response to that.
So I said, because women are the prize. Um, I don't agree women are the prize. All right. I don't agree that women are the prize. And there's one reason why T Diamond, and she's a female supporter. The one reason why women are not the prize is because everything that they do produces debt. Now, let's say I gave you a gift and that gift continued to produce responsibility and debt. Is that a prize? And by that definition alone, it's not a prize. All right. It's an obligation. All right. It is a responsibility. It is a debt. So everything that she does after you get her produces responsibility, debt, trauma, things like this that you then have to take care of after the fact. So I think they're less the prize and more of a duty, responsibility, and an obligation. All right. That's what they are. In fact, that makes men the prize. Right. So they never produce anything of value. All right. And it's rare that they produce something of value unless your kid gets drafted in the NFL draft. All right. But that's about it. Yeah. It doesn't create value. They create debt. All right. So liability, lovable liability. So we can love these. You can love something that is a liability. Doesn't mean you're valueless. I just think the prize conversation is a joke. All right. They cannot be the prize when they produce debt, obligation, attention, all this other that I gotta keep investing and dumping time, money, energy, attention in, whatever the you want to say. That's not a prize. All right, I would not put that as a prize. Therefore, I would put men ahead in the prize conversation. All right, because we take on these debts and obligations, we take on these duties, we take on the insufferable nature of this individual, the woman that cannot be satisfied, the insatiability, the woman constantly moving the goalposts and asking for more, more, and more. That's not a prize, all right, at all.
Okay. And so now you guys see this is what we're talking about. Are women actually the prize? And I can't find a competent rebuttal for that. Like what was just laid out. I can't find any competent rebuttal. Right? Now I'm not gonna say that women are bad people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying women are bad people. There's good women, there's great women, there's bad men, there's awful men, there's great men, the whole nine. Right? Life occurs on a spectrum. I'm simply saying, do we really think that women are the prize? In 2025, with all that we know, we've been talking about dating and podcasting and all that. We've been talking about this since like heavily since about 2017. We still think women are the prize? Said I never seen you going live. You know what, man? YouTube is not like. Are you subscribed? Like, cause I don't know if YouTube pushes the notifications out to people who are not subscribed. YouTube, like the algorithm has changed aggressively. Like if you didn't watch the video like yesterday, then they won't show it today. Like in your feed. It's so wild. Like they are only showing people what they recently clicked on. It's ridiculous. But we've only been live for about 7 minutes. So and we're only discussing are women the prize. So anywho, this is why I want you guys to kind of like rethink things. Like I'm not gonna ever tell you not to date. I'm just gonna tell you to rethink the utility of dating. Just like women are rethinking their place in the world, men have to rethink their place in the world and women's place in the world, right?
This might sound really stupid, but I had no idea that perimenopause was a thing until I was in it. I legit thought we turned 50, 55, showed up at menopause for a couple of years, and then that was it. But that's not it. Perimenopause could start as early as 35, continue into late 40s, then menopause kicks in, could last into late 50s. We're talking 20 potential years of hormonal fluctuation. That induces symptoms like brain fog, night sweats, joint pain, loss of joy, loss of libido, loss of self, food aversion, mouth burning, skin that never stops itching, hip pain, depression, anxiety. I was not prepared for any of this. Were you? Or am I the only one that showed up here clueless?
I want you guys to think about that. Think about everything this woman just said. There's the potential for these women to go through premenopause at like 35. Right? 35 she's going through premenopause and she's experiencing all this stuff. And that's your prize. Now imagine you started dating this woman when she was like 30. Let's say like 28. You met her later in your later 20s and you start dating this woman and you guys have 7 years together and then this starts. And you guys got like little kids. Right? You date her for a while, maybe you marry her after 2 or 3 years. You got a 4-year-old and then this happens. I'm not saying that men can't have like, they can't get like cancer, they can't, get a limb chopped off because of diabetes or something like that. But 30%, according to the CDC, 30% of women experience premenopausal symptoms starting in their mid to late 30s. Right? So that gives you a very high likelihood of running into this. So when you start seeing women who act a certain kind of way, that could be the reason why. What do you do about that? Well, you kind of just got to stick it out. But in conjunction with what CGA was saying in the previous video, do we still think women are the prize when this is a realistic possibility? 30% of women are going to hit this in their 30s. In their 30s, this is where most women are, or 30% are hitting it. Most women hit menopause later 40s, but then premenopause doubles in like the 40s. So this is premenopausal symptoms. This is just when the hot flashes and all the itching and stuff is going on. All right. Once again, and I'm not dinging women. I'm not trying to come down on women for having this issue. I'm just simply saying a lot of women go through this, but yet they're somehow looked at as the prize. Because when you are married to a woman or you're with a woman and she's going through this, you're not getting no sex from her. You're not getting no cooperation from her. This is when the women start filing for divorce and talking about their emotions and their feelings and stuff like this. And you just have to suffer through it. Right? You are expected as a man to just suffer through that. Who's who's doing all that? Shout out to you if you are doing it. But honest to goodness, if you knew that 30% of the you walk outside, you see 10 women. You walk outside, you see 100 women. If you knew that 30 of those women were going to basically be, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean it in a derogatory sense, but just hear me out. You walk outside and you see 100 women, and you know that mathematically, from a medical standpoint, 30 of these women are going to be useless by the time they hit 30. They're going to be sexually useless by 35. Would you want to date any of them? But that's your prize, right? Like, imagine a woman getting with a guy who somehow by 35, he can't work. She would be encouraged to leave that guy, right? Once again, I'm not condemning women for their condition. I'm not condemning them for premenopause. I'm just simply saying it's a thing. It's a real thing that 30% of men are going to have to deal with that woman when she goes through premenopause. Now, I don't know what's on the other side of menopause, but most women are just like, they just shut it down. The factory is closed. It is what it is. I don't think that's not prize material to me. But let's keep going.
If you're a parent, then you need to read this article from the New York Times. It says, not just more babies. These Republicans want more parents at home. As the Trump administration shrinks federal childcare programs, Republicans are backing policies they hope will allow more parents to scale back at work. I'm going to say the quiet part out loud here. They want mothers to stay at home. They don't want parents to stay at home. They want mothers to stay at home. And at first, they're pretty quiet about it in the article, but as you get deeper, they are much more explicit about the fact that they think women should be caring for children over prioritizing their careers, as they say. Now let's get into the weeds on this a little bit, okay? They talk a lot about childcare in this article, which is not surprising because the average American family is very concerned about the high cost of childcare.
I'm going to pause this right here because this is like a almost 3-minute video, and she does a lot of yapping. Her entire page on Instagram or TikTok her entire page is dedicated to just complaining and scorekeeping. All right, it's insane. But I want you guys to think about this. When you are talking about getting married, as a man, is this not what you're sold on? Like, this is kind of what they sell you on, is that you're going to go out there and you're going to work hard and you're going to provide for your family, and the woman is going to have you some kids and she's going to stay at home, maybe have a career, but she's going to stay at home and be a mom. Isn't this what most women do? Like, they work until they have a kid, and then you do the lion's share of the work, and then they stay at home. But this woman is telling you she doesn't want to do that. This woman is telling you essentially she wants a world where you work 8 hours and she works 8 hours, and y'all are basically roommates with these tiny humans running around that have to be molded into adults. How many of you were raised like that? Like, I certainly wasn't. How many of you guys were raised like that? But this is what the overwhelming majority of women have become. Does that sound like a prize to you guys? Do you guys see that as a prize? I don't see that as a prize, but let's hear what the rest of this woman has to say.
But instead of funding childcare, instead of subsidizing childcare, they're actively taking funds away from childcare. And the only solution they have to make it more affordable is to deregulate it, which makes it inherently less safe for children. But this is intentional. They talk about that. It is intentional. They are looking to incentivize one parent to stay at home. And when they mean one parent, they mean mom. And just to be clear, I say they mean mom because the data shows that when there are gaps in childcare, women are twice as likely to leave the workforce to care for children. And so they know that. So if they stop funding childcare, if they deregulate childcare, they know that more and more women are going to leave the workforce. Now, they're not explicitly saying that they're trying to force women to leave the workforce, but what they are saying is they are trying to make it more economically viable for women to make the choice to be a stay-at-home parent. And
what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? See, this is one of the things that you guys are going to run into. Like when we say women are the prize, or when we put that question forward, where we put that mindset for all women are the prize, you guys have to understand that women also think about everything from the standpoint of I'm supposed to get and I'm supposed to get more, right? If this woman is the prize, isn't she supposed to be a blessing to other people? Shouldn't she be a blessing to her husband? Shouldn't she be a blessing to her family? But women like this, they only, like, they're not going backwards. This idea that we're going backwards, we're never going backwards in time. Women want to be the head of the house. They want to make the money. They want to have autonomy from the husband, right? They don't want any of that. So let's think about this. Even if you marry a conservative woman, she always reserves the right to do this, become the career monster, to become the liberal, bat out of hell. And you can't really stop it. So when we think about that, is that a prize? Is that a prize that you want? Because if you think about it from the male perspective or from the male standpoint, the man can't simply switch up, right? Men can't simply switch what it is that they're expected to do. I'm gonna take this down because she's not about to say nothing important after this. But men are expected to have a static role. Like a man, no matter who you are, no matter what state you live in, no matter how conservative or whatever, men are expected to work. Men are expected to be the ones who go out there and earn for their family. Men are expected to be the ones who go out there, like they're teaching the kid, they're teaching their son. They're like there are static roles. Men are supposed to be stand-up members of the community. If there's somebody breaking in houses, y'all supposed to form the neighborhood watch. Men are supposed to take charge and make things safe and make things better. Men can't just switch up, but a woman can definitely start off Susie Homemaker with a college degree and say, you know what? I wanna have a career now. So she can throw the whole family out of whack. Is that a prize? Like, are we going to sit up here and say that that's prize material? A woman who just reserves the right to throw the family out of whack, and there's nothing on there. There's no reasonable expectation on her end that she's going to stay the course and, hey, just be mom. I got this. I don't look at that as a prize. I mean, a lot of you guys might look at it as a prize, but it looks like a liability. Just like CJ was saying, it looks like something that has to be maintained, and I'm going to be the one doing all the maintenance on the thing. But I could be wrong. Let's see.
Welcome to Mom Libido 101. Here's the basics of the formula. The amount she slept last night, plus how much food she's eaten today, sitting down, times the amount of help her partner gave her, divided by the annoying fucking comments, minus the number of times she was touched by her children today. So let's run through an example, shall we? Let's say mom got 8 hours of sleep last night, she ate 3 full meals, her partner did pickup and bath time, but he was really fucking annoying twice. Then we have to subtract by the 1,000 times that she was touched today. Does anyone know what the answer is? Not a fucking chance.
That's your prize, people. That is your prize. This woman is working out a mathematic formula as to why she's not going to give you sex in the confines of your relationship. You married this person, you work, all of your effort is spent for this person. You come home to this person, you provide a house for her, you provide a house for the kids, you stay loyal to this person, and this is what you get. You have a woman who is doing math equations in order to not give you sex. She's upset because you annoyed her. So she works the annoyances into the math equation. The kids touched her. How is that a prize? Like, I'm not saying that a woman has to give her husband sex every single day. But like, just think about what this one. Let me run this back one more time.
Welcome to Mom Libido 101. Here's the basics of the formula.
I want you guys to take note of all the stipulations she's putting on this man. And I want you to ask yourself, can a man do the same thing? Here's all the stipulations for me not giving you money or attention.
The amount she slept last night, plus how much food she's eaten today, sitting down, times the amount of help her partner gave her, divided by the annoying fucking comments, minus the number of times she was touched by her children today.
So essentially, if this woman isn't given the life of luxury, she's not going to give you any sex. So let me ask you this. What happens with all the couples that don't have kids? Is that man having all the sex in the world? Is this a thing that we can outsource? Like, is the man allowed to outsource this? Like, you're annoyed. You don't get to eat 3 meals sitting down, because she emphasized sitting down. You don't get to eat 3 meals sitting down. So can that man outsource the sex? Can he go get somebody else to handle that portion, to take the load off of you? Pun intended. Note to self, guy. Her math makes no sense. No, it doesn't make any sense. This is called scorekeeping. This is called score. Like this is a form of scorekeeping where women they just make things up to ensure that they don't have to sleep with their husband. They don't want to sleep with you. They got the house, they got the wedding, they got the marriage, they got the commitment, they got the kids. They are not in the business of giving you sex now. There's no reason to.
So let's run through an example, shall we? Let's say mom got 8 hours of sleep last night, she ate 3 full meals. Her partner did pickup and bath time, but he was really fucking annoying twice.
You did something that annoyed her. She's not going to tell you what it was, but you did something that annoyed her. And because of that, she's keeping a mental note of it. And she's going to factor that, well, I would give you sex, but you made me mad, so I'm not going to give you sex. Now, when you cheat on this woman, it's because you're a bad guy, right? You're toxic, you're controlling. But she got a math sheet out. She has a chalkboard with the math equation as to why she's not going to give you sex.
Then we have to subtract by the 1,000 times that she was touched today.
I've heard women say stuff like this. I'm all touched out. I'm all touched out. Does this work in the opposite direction with men? Like I'm all worded out. People been talking to me at work. The kids are talking, and now you running your mouth. Shut up. Can you just do that with a woman? Can you do that with your wife and just tell her, hey, woman, shut up. I'm all talked out. I'm turning my ears off. What do you think your kids are going to do? How is it that your children touching you is somehow shutting you down? Like this makes absolutely no sense unless you hate your kids. So now you got to deal with this woman who realistically hates her children. So she doesn't want to give you anything because she hates the kid. The kids annoyed me. The kids made me mad. Because she's saying that the kids touched her 1,000 times. That means she's counting each time. That means every time they touch her, she's putting a check in the box because she hates the touch of her children. How is that a prize? I don't understand how that's a prize. We are here today to figure out if women are a prize. Does that look like a prize to you? Does that sound like a prize to you? Somebody who I hate the fact that my kids touch me, so I'm not going to give you sex. That's a major reason as to why I'm not giving you sex. That's a prize? Y'all better than me if you think it is.
Does anyone know what the answer is? Not a fucking chance.
So basically she's telling you, because she's a mom and she has to go through basic mom stuff, she's not going to sleep with you. So just think about that. When we say women are the prize and we say, oh man, we want to have relationships and we want to get married and yada, 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 so on and so forth. You have to think that's what's going to happen in your relationship. This is not a one-off. She's not the only woman who thinks like this. She's not the only woman who acts like this. This whole idea of, women being the fairest sex and they love their kids so much, that's false. It's like 100% false. Women do not love their kids like that. And then she's going to take it out on you. But we still have this idea in America that women are the prize. Why? Can anybody answer that question? No. But we have to kind of play. If we don't put women up on a pedestal as the prize, then where exactly are we putting them? Right? Like that's the messed up part. Like we can't really have this conversation in an open and honest fashion. If we're being open and honest, women are lovable liabilities. Great, good enough people, but they're not the prize. Right? You can't be a prize when everything that you are constitutes an annoyance for someone else, when everything that you are constitutes an inability to function in your given role. I want you to be a wife. Okay, I'm a wife, but she hates every minute of it. Like what good are you as a wife if every bit of being a wife is a hardship for you? Like you're literally sitting there with the checkboard marking down every single thing that happened in your life that's just happened throughout your day and saying, this is an annoyance for me and I'm going to make a decision based on this. Like how are you a prize? You're a liability. You're a burden. You are the worst thing that could ever happen to a man. Man, you're not going to convince me that women are the prize. Like, I think they're good enough people, but this idea, and imagine marrying that. Like now you're legally bound to that. You are legally bound to that person that's out here scorekeeping in order to not give you sex. Imagine what happens if you divorce that person. This woman is scorekeeping against her own children. Oh, the kids touched me 1,000 times today, and I was so busy with the kids, I wasn't able to eat sitting down. I had to eat on the go. I had to do pickup and bath time. So imagine if she's taking all of this down, imagine what she's going to do when she divorces you. She's going to have a checklist longer than the dang Constitution. She will have a checklist that's like 100 pages thick of everything you've ever done, because women keep score. In case you guys didn't know, women keep score of everything, because in their mind, everything that they do is the biggest thing that could ever be done. And it's something that needs to be rewarded. And it's something that needs to be praised. And when you're not praising them, they count it as 2 strikes. I did this and you didn't praise me for it. Does that sound like a prize to you? Somebody whose mental state is so feeble, their emotional state is so feeble that everything they do has to be rewarded. That's not a prize. That's the farthest thing from a prize. That's a burden. That's a curse. But let's keep going.
Just the act of a man going down on bended knee, that is what triggers the crazy in a lot of women. You know how a lot of men, they're with a woman and they're all good with the dating phase, boyfriend and girlfriend situation, everything is cool. And the minute that woman gets that ring on her finger, she starts acting like a completely different person. I'm almost positive that bended knee thing is what triggers it. Physically, the act of him getting on bended knee and making himself smaller and bowing to the woman, it's almost like it goes into her brain and says, yeah, I own you now. I'm over you. I control you. Happy wife, happy life. You do what I say. Oh, you can't do that because you a husband now. You gotta, answer to me because I'm the wife. This is why the man gets walked all over within his marriage and within his relationship.
I have to agree. I have to agree 100%. I was a wedding photographer for a bit, right? When I was making movies for nightclubs and restaurants and stuff like that, I was, shooting videos for like music artists and, high-end clients, Persian people who wanted to document their last year in medical school and stuff like that. I did a lot of wedding photography, and every man I ever talked to said the exact same thing. It's like once you get married, there's like a switch in her mind that just flips. and she is a completely different person. And nobody talks about this. Everybody talks about marriage. Everybody talks about family. Everybody talks about community. You know, they'll tell you marriage is like the best thing you'll ever do. Oh, getting married is the best thing I've ever done. And they can't ever really say why. Why is marriage the best thing you've ever done? It's like error 404. They can't tell you why marriage is the best thing they've ever done. They can't really even tell you what they personally get, right? It's just prescripted stuff. It's just prescripted stuff, right? They have it in their mind that if they just do the right things, everything's going to go the way it was sold to them, right? Men are merit based. So they think there's a prescripted formula. If I do this, then I get that. Like, it's like, I don't know how much you guys know about math or computer programming. It's a logic statement. If this, then that. I did this, then I get that. Like, they think it's like that, right? This is super basic computer programming, super basic logic structure, right? If you clean your room, then you can go outside. You cleaned your room. Therefore, you can go outside. Men think that that's how women work. That's not how it works. They think if you treat her right and you marry her, she'll give you sex and she'll love you. That's not how it's going to work. That's 110% not how it's going to work. Like this woman said, as soon as you get down on one knee, as soon as you get down on bended knee, that woman she's going to flip. She won the game. I won the game. I'm the prize. That's what they think. I'm the prize. You just admitted that I'm the prize. Now it's time for you to be my slave. It's time for you to pay up. But somehow we still sell it as the woman is the prize. Somehow, some way, we're still selling it as the woman being the prize.
Just the act of a man going down on bended knee, that is what triggers the crazy in a lot of women. You know how a lot of men, they're with a woman and they're all good with the dating phase, boyfriend and girlfriend situation, everything is cool. And the minute that woman gets that ring on her finger, she starts acting like a completely different person.
I don't know how many of you guys have ever been in a relationship, or you have clearly been on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and you've seen those little street interviews or whatever, and somebody will say, "Who said I love you first?" And there's like this nervousness or there's kind of like this laughter. It's because everybody knows whoever says I love you first, that person just lost the game. All right. You guys remember the little circle game? This game here? By the way, you all just lost. Everybody who watches this video just lost. Got you. It's like that. The object of the game is to not think about the game. The object of the love game is to not say I love you first. And as soon as you say I love you, got you. Now the other person has all the leverage. That's what it is. That's what it is. And now all of a sudden we're telling ourselves in society that women are the prize, even though as soon as you give her what she wants, she's going to flip the script. She's going to flip on you. How, like, I want you to think about this. Imagine you had a child and that child said, they had a friend and they said every time they give that friend some of their candy, the friend treats them poorly. What would you tell your child? You would have to tell your child, "Hey man, you got to stop hanging out with your friend. Your friend's a psycho. Your friend's just using you." When you are out there and you're dating and you think things are going to go your way, what do? You say, "Okay, I love this woman. I like this woman a whole lot. I'm going to commit to her. I'm going to cut off all these other girls. I'm going to put up with all her craziness. I'm going to listen to her little goofy girl stories." You do the things that she wants to do. You watch the movies that she wants to watch. You go above and beyond to show this person that I am trustworthy. I'm going to show up. And how does she repay you? As soon as you give her commitment, she flips the script. Subsequently, this is why the marriage rates are plummeting. I want you guys to really, like, I don't know how old you guys all are, but I want you guys to really think about this. Why would you get married if you know that you can get you as the man get the exact same thing from her if you're not married than if you are married? And if she gets married to you, she actually gets more. She gets more from you. Now she has a contract betwixt the two of you that says if you piss her off, if you make her mad, she gets to put you to the guillotine financially. Why would you sign up for that deal? Who's still signing up for that deal? That's the prize? That's the prize you guys are out here fighting for? You tell a woman you love her and she flips the script. You get down on bended knee and now all of a sudden she rubbing her hands like Birdman. Come on, man.
Just the act of a man going down on.
Hey,
We need to have a talk. Okay, let's have a talk. I had to catch myself the other day because one of my favorite questions to ask the boys after school is, who did you sit with at lunch? It's an important social part of the day that can tell you a lot about your kids, and it warms them up to sharing and chatting because it's fun to talk about. As my 9-year-old was listing off the group of friends he sits with at his table, he rattled off 4 to 5 girls' names, and he was sort of smirking when he shared this. My instinct was to pounce on this moment and ask who had a crush on who. Did he have a crush on anybody? Rumors were flying at the Valentine's Day dance just a few months ago, but I didn't. And there's a reason. See, for boys especially, it's really important not to romanticize or sexualize young friendships with girls, because down the line, how are men supposed to value friendship with women if all they've ever been taught is that girls are only capable of assuming the role of a crush or a girlfriend? If I reacted with a high-pitched, ooh, you eat lunch with girls? Do you like any of them? It signals to him that his friendship with boys at the table is not the same as his friendship with the girls. It's also embarrassing him. Using this like teasing tone and language will cause him to shut down and not share as much with me. And let me tell you, the most harmful of all is that it communicates that being friends with a girl is embarrassing. Some might say this is overthinking, but our views of gender are formulated at such a young age, and so many different factors contribute to them. I constantly catch myself in moments like this, and this one was worth sharing.
okay. I don't know how many of you guys have children. I don't know how many of you guys have younger brothers and sisters and whatever the case might be, nieces, nephews. If you are not teaching the men in your family that female friendships are detrimental to them, you don't actually love that person. This woman is essentially she's instituting a situation in her family where she has 2 young sons and they're, eating lunch with people. And these kids innately, when they are dealing with girls, they have this smirk, this kind of smirk on their face. And it's this is how we do. As human beings, this is how we do. This is how we are. It's what we are. Okay, it's what we are. Men like women, women like men. The idea that at puberty, that's when boys start noticing girls, that's not true. That is not true. Boys and girls start noticing each other very early on. Very early on, they start noticing each other. So what this woman is trying to do is build into this kid's mind a mindset of you can have platonic female friendships. She's going to build this kid into the nice guy. Now, if you guys were here yesterday, if you watched the video yesterday, I shared a couple of her videos. Her whole thing is, I'm a boy mom and I'm going to fight the patriarchy by teaching my son to look at women the way I want men to look at women, and yada, 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 so on and so forth. And that's all well and good. That's all well and good. Here's the problem. She's going to build her son into the type of man that no woman is going to be attracted to. And she doesn't even understand that, right? I don't know where this kid's father is at to tell him, the truth. At the end of the day, female friendships are essentially worthless. You're not going to get anything from the female friendship, but she's going to get a lot from you. She's going to get boyfriend energy from you. And I'm talking about obviously when this kid gets older. When kids are young, yes, 100%. It's all platonic. It's all cool. But kids are going to develop crushes, right? Girls start developing those thought processes way earlier than boys anyways, around like 10, 11, because they're prepubescent. So that it's already there, right? And what she's doing is she's trying to teach this kid, oh, your relationships with your friendships with these girls is completely innocent. And I'm not trying to make it more than what it is. I'm just saying, imagine you being a man, you marry this woman, you have these sons, and while you're at work providing for your kids, your wife is turning your son into a simp and a loser and a nice guy. Said Red Chaos said he'll grow out of it. See, here's the problem. We think he'll grow out of it. Like, hopefully he grows out of what the woman teaches him. Because what happens is a lot of moms are teaching their sons to look at women platonically. This is where these nice guys come from, right? For the most part, nice guys are made. They're not born, right? Nice guys are made. People are teaching them, hey, be nice, be nice, be nice. This is where the idea that you can simply be a nice guy comes from. Like, she's going to teach her son that you can be a nice guy and the girls will like you and you will get what you want out of it. That's where that comes from. And that's what a lot of people don't get. Right? This is why the nice guys finish last, because they're taught very early on to be nice. This woman is a liability to her own son. So you kind of have to think about it from the standpoint of a man. We say women are the prize. We're saying women are the prize, but at the same time, they're the ones creating their own worst enemy. They're creating the nice guy, the toxic nice guy. They're turning the sons into losers. Like, what if we had a father that was turning the daughter into a lady of the night, let's say? We had a father that was turning the daughter into a 304. That idea of making your kid toxically nice, because that's what's going to happen. He's super young, and yes, you at that age, you kind of just want to let them figure it out. When you start putting stuff on them either way, you build a bad person. I remember when I was a kid, there would be parents who would tell their kids to get after the girls in a sexual manner when we were in grade school. Like, there would be people putting that pressure on their kids like right away, and it turned their kids into deviants. It's the same way in the opposite direction. When you tell your kid that, everything is innocent and stuff like that, what happens is those kids, they never develop a mind to go after women romantically. They never develop it. They just see the girl as a friend, and then they don't know how to actually go after a girl. This is why you see so many women saying, it's like so many, let's say Gen Z, way younger millennials. You see so many Gen Z women saying men don't know how to approach women. They don't know how to talk to women. They don't know how to deal with women. Right? And then they go after older guys who are more experienced. Why? Because somebody had a mom sitting back there telling them, oh man, y'all are just friends, like she kind of, I don't want to say she's shaming it out of him, but she's programming her son to only see women as friends. And what I'm saying is, let them kids figure it out themselves. Like nature will take its course. But she's trying to program because she's a feminist. I didn't load in her other videos, but I showed some videos of her yesterday. She is a hardcore feminist, and her whole page is dedicated to being a boy mom that is teaching her sons how to treat women. That's why I'm saying that. So is being a deviant bad or good? What kind of question is that, man? Do you know what the word deviant means? Being a deviant is a bad thing. That's why they call it. That's why. Let me pull up the definition of deviant for you. I don't have my dictionary right on hand, but all right. So deviant, departing from usual or accepted standards, especially in social or sexual behavior. Yes. Being a deviant is somebody who deviates from the standard. They deviate. They wildly deviate. You don't want to build your kids into deviance, right? This is where you get the OF girls. right? This is where you get your OF girls. They're deviants, right? If you ask 10,000 parents, do they want their daughter on OF right after high school? They would probably say, no, I don't want that. But if the girl is a deviant, she's going to be like, oh, I want to do that. They go against the grain on purpose. Right. And like I said, like the kids where I was growing up at, there were people who got turned into deviants because their parents encouraged it. Their parents encouraged them to be deviant at a very early age. It was kind of one of those things where it's like, you had dads who was like, I don't want my son to be gay, so I want him to get on girls early. And it backfired wildly. Like the kids didn't end up gay, but a lot of these kids ended up getting like sexual assault charges, and they ended up catching cases and stuff like that. It doesn't work out. When you try to program kids for, some sort of dynamic early on, it never works out. He said, are women the prize? Hell no. Hey, that's what we're going through today. That's what we're finding out today. But yeah, when you program a kid, it always backfires, right? You have to lead by example. This is why the nuclear family is so important. I don't know how many of you guys have kids, but if you sit there and you tell your kids a bunch of stuff, like you tell your kids all the right things, they're not going to listen to you. Why do you think like successful people who are highly successful, why do you think their kids are not also highly successful? Like, sure, they inherit the money, but they don't inherit the hunger. They don't inherit the habits. They don't inherit any of the attributes that made the first successful person successful, right? Because kids don't listen to what you tell them. They listen to what you do. They have to see you. They have to see you racking up victories. They have to see you doing things, right? As Hard 9 said, women are necessary to continue your heritage, but there is nothing ethereal about them. Yeah, like we've started romanticizing certain things in society, and we've gone way off course, right? We've gone so far off course. We put women on pedestals, right? And it's gone too far, and now it's at a tipping point, and there's really no way back. There's really no way back. Like we've gone way too far in the left leaning direction, right? Like we think women are these magical creatures and they somehow are, better than society. OF. Look at all the girls on OF. Look at all the girls who do adult films. They weren't beat over the head and thrown in a van and made to do that. They wanted to do that. But if you tell the average man that women have these dark desires, they'll call you crazy. They'll say you're a misogynist. They'll say you're a crazy person. Like women don't think like that. So then explain all these teachers touching these little boys. There's tons of women with dark desires, tons and tons and tons of them. But we've convinced ourselves that that's not the case. We've convinced ourselves that these women are up here, that they're angels. Do you guys know? Have any of you guys heard of the term fallen women? Have you guys ever heard that term before? I don't know if you guys have ever heard the term fallen women, but fallen women is an old-fashioned and disapproving term for a woman who has lost her social reputation, typically due to having sex before marriage. It implies a loss of innocence and moral standing, often associated with prostitution or unwed motherhood. Red Kyle, right? Red Kyle, fallen women. Is my mic too low? Yeah, fallen women, right? Like they fell. The reason we call them fallen, the reason they were called fallen women was because women were highly, highly esteemed. They were placed up here, right? And in days gone by, in the Victorian era, in the 14, 15, 16, 1700s, women were placed really high up, right? And those times, a man was literally not a full-fledged member of society unless he was married, because it was thought that women were they were basically the soul of all things good, right? They were the soul of all things good. So if you are a man, you were inherently looked at as a monster, and you can only be trustworthy if an angel approves of you. And women were looked at as literal angels. This is not Chinese history. This is not Japanese history. This is Western. This is European history. This is early American history. Right? Yeah, no. It says your mic is good. I'm just young, never heard of it. Most people never heard of it. I'm 40 and I didn't hear about it until like 3 years ago. I didn't know it was a thing. I'd never heard that. These are terms that we as a people we've lost. You guys have to understand, when it comes to women, I tell everybody, look at the pyramids over there in Giza, right? You look at the pyramids over there in Giza. How did they get built? I don't know. Nobody knows, but somebody built them, and there's some knowledge that was used to build the pyramids, and it's been lost. That happens throughout history. There's knowledge that's gained, great things happen, then the knowledge is lost somehow, right? Every empire that's ever risen up, when they got overthrown by the next empire, that next empire sacked the whole thing and destroyed all the knowledge and everything, right? Like that just happens. It's the same thing with women. There's certain things about women that society as a whole across the world has known. And then there's just things that happen where we forget, right? Things just happen and we don't know. Well, now we know, right? Thanks to like the red pill and the internet, people can compare notes on women, and all of a sudden people are remembering, oh snap, they really do act like this. It's really all of them. That's what I'm saying. It says, what about gays then? What do you mean, what about gays? What about gays? Like what's the context for that question? Right? So you guys have, like, you're gonna have to put what the context for that question is, because I'm not catching your meaning. But yeah, you guys really have to understand that when it comes to what we think about women, when it comes to what we know about women, the world used to know women acted a certain way. We still know how men act. We know men are barbarians. That's why we have laws. This is why we have prisons. This is why the whole world used to have the death penalty, but this is why we have harsh laws. This is why we have armies, right? Everybody knows men are barbarians, but we act like women are these angels and we put them up on these pedestals. And then when they do stuff to fall off the pedestal, we act like, well, somebody must have pushed them off the pedestal. Certainly they wouldn't do that on their own. It says, are gay people monsters or angels? My whole thing about gay people is look at nature. I don't see any gay grizzly bears. I don't see any gay lions, tigers. And I know what people are going to say, oh, it's been documented before, animals doing gay stuff. And what I'm going to say is I see dogs humping the air. I see dogs humping table chairs. So a dog humping another male dog doesn't mean all that much if dogs are humping the air and table chairs and stuff like that. So I look at gay people from the standpoint of nature. Are you going against nature? Right? That's all I can really say. It's not in line with nature. If that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. I can't stop you. It's not illegal. It's not natural. It's unproductive because you can't have kids. But I know plenty of gay people who are smart. Like, they can go to college and get degrees and they can contribute to society. But from the standpoint of them being able to do anything natural, what can a gay or a lesbian person do to really contribute to society? Like, do you want gays and lesbians to set the standard for what society should be? Like, okay, yeah, they might be a great citizen individually, But do we want their lifestyle to set the standard? Because if it does, then society literally dies because they can't have kids. So what's the point in living an unproductive lifestyle? Like I said, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not about to sit up here and gay bash. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm just saying, let's look at things from the most practical standpoint. That's like the whole stream. I'm not saying that women are the enemy. They're not the enemy. They're just not the prize. There's things there are harsh truths about life that we have to accept. There are harsh truths about women that we have to accept. There's harsh truths about gays that we have to accept. Yeah, they might be great people, but can they really contribute to society as a people? Right? I'm black. I'm black. Do black people really contribute to society? Look worldwide, corner to corner. Look corner to corner. Look at America. Look at Canada. Look at the UK. Are black? You can definitely see some black people, an individual black scientist, doctor, dentist, lawyer. But do black people as a people contribute to the countries they live in? I can tell you the Koreans do. I can tell you the Chinese and the Japanese do. Right? That's an uncomfortable conversation. So what I'm talking about when I say like gays, as a people group, do they contribute? Or are they just kind of living an unnatural lifestyle where here and there they can be contributors? It's harsh, but it's true, right? And that leads us back to the whole thing about women. Are they contributing? Are women contributing in today's society as the prize? Like we say they're the prize. Well, are they? It says Big Ninja is the biggest contribution. Pretty much. Pretty much. Right? These are harsh things. Right? These are harsh realities that we have to face. Like saying women are the prize in a relationship would be like saying black people are the prize in a society. How? Like, yes, are there black people who are a credit to their race and a credit to their community? Sure. But are black people as a whole? And that's the same thing with women. There's amazing women out there, but women as a whole, right? I don't know. I don't know if you guys watch Fresh and Fit. The guy Myron from Fresh and Fit, he did a debate. He did one of those college campus debates. And I talked about it. I talked about it in a video recently before I started live streaming. And the guy was saying, I used to follow your advice. And then I went out there and I slept with all these women and I didn't find no peace and I didn't find no happiness. And then I found Jesus Christ and I gave my life to God and now I'm happy. So he was trying to dunk on Myron. He was trying to dunk on Myron, basically saying, oh yeah, I followed your advice and it almost ruined me. And the dude didn't realize, like, bro, you got to live a life that 99% of men want to live. Right? It's crazy. It's just kind of crazy. Right? But we've digressed. Let's move on. All right. So there you have it. There you have it. Imagine you go out there and you're working as hard as you can to be the best version of yourself. You're doing all your homework in high school. You going to college and you're not going to the parties on Friday night, Saturday. You studying. You treating people right. When your male friends treat women poorly, you check them. You're the good guy. You've done everything you can to be a good man. You get with this woman and she says, you know what? All this peace and all this success and all this stability that you bring to me, I don't like it. I don't like it. I need chaos. I want to do hood rat things with my friends. But we're still going to sit up here and say men are the prize or women are the prize. Says him wanting her to be at her potential is bad to her. Yeah. You man, this is why we're having this conversation. You guys do not understand what women really are. They do not want to perform up to snuff. They don't want to do that. Have you I don't know how many of you guys have sisters, or if you have female friends or have had female friends, or if you've just known women in your life, cousin, friend of the family, whatever. Maybe you went to school with a person. Have you ever seen a woman who was like successful, like really successful, like objectively successful, making good money, and maybe she has a degree, she's educated, and then you see the kind of guy she dates or marries? Has anybody ever seen that dynamic? Like, I don't know how many of you guys live in America. I don't know how many of you guys, I don't know how many of you guys have been in the military, but if you're in the military, you've seen this. You've definitely seen it if you're in the military. You'll see women who go out there and they work super hard to become an officer in the military. And then they go out there and they get that job. They start ranking up in the military. And then you see the guy that they're married to, and it's like, where did you find this guy? He said, I see that in Jamaica. Like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, bro, what are we talking about? So you went out here as a woman to get a degree. You went out there to become this lady who can, be a business person. Like, if she was a man, she would be a top tier man. Like, that's the kind of earning potential and social potential she has. And then the dude that she has a kid with is just, he's a cartoon character. He says, yes, the guys aren't generally good. Good women absolutely hate good men. Most women, if you have a woman who's like not really high up, like educationally and everything like that, she doesn't want to be a good woman. She wants to be ratchet. That's why they don't like good men. They like the income. They like the money that a good man brings around, but they don't like the actuality of that good man. They don't want to be held accountable. These women like to cheat. These women like to be promiscuous. These women like to be ratchet at the club. They like all the hype and all the foolishness that comes with being who and what they are. And they want a man who's going to join in the reindeer games, so to speak, so that they're at no point are they held accountable or do they feel bad about themselves. That's what that is. And it's the same thing with the woman who's high achieving. That high achieving college girl, she doesn't want a doctor. She doesn't want a lawyer. They'll all want the doctor or the lawyer once they have Pookie's kid. Now that's once they have a kid by the bad guy, that's when they're going to want you. It's like they're allergic to dudes who are on their grind. Yeah. The only grind that a woman wants is you grinding drugs. Those are the kinds of guys that they want. These women do not like good men. When they are high performing women, it's like they just seek out the worst kinds of men because they want to be willed and thrilled. They like the whole roller coaster, right? You guys want to see something really interesting? I didn't load this video in. I'm gonna just load it in on the spot. I did a video about this a while back. I'm going to load this in here. So give me a minute. And it kind of just talks about a woman's emotions. Do you guys want to see my small thesis piece on women and their emotions and how they're just so erratic? Let me see if I can do this manually. Let me get a source in here. There goes 13. All right. We're not going to loop that one. Browse this real quick. Okay, people, check this out. What we have. All right, I'm gonna put this up here real quick. I gotta fix the sound. Okay, people, check this out. What we have here is the female cycle of chaos. On this cycle, you have quite a few things, so I'm gonna break it all down. Best case scenario. All right, I'm gonna start this over just in case the sound isn't playing. It wasn't playing on my end. So here we go. Okay, people, check this out. What we have here is the female cycle of chaos. On this cycle, you have quite a few things, so I'm gonna break it all down. Best case scenario, you meet this girl and she's normal. Now, when women are normal, they want to feel all the positive emotions. They want to feel joy, happiness, everything that can be considered positive, they want to feel. Over time, they are going to get bored with feeling positive emotions. Then they're going to want to feel negative emotions, right? That's anger, that's pain, that's betrayal, all of it. And these emotions are 100% based on what you are doing. If you are giving her this, if you're doing that, if you're saying this, if you're saying that, she's going to consider that positive emotion, and she loves that. Now, no matter how much you give her, she wants negative emotions. So she's going to focus on the things that you're not giving her, that you're not saying to her. And then all of a sudden, she gets her negative emotions. Like I said, all of this is service-based. It's based on what you do to her or for her. Now, this is all based on affect. That is the act of experiencing emotions, both positive and negative. It's like cause and effect. We'll get to that later. So this is like a candy shop, right? You go to the candy shop, you would think to yourself, nobody wants the candy corn, nobody wants the butterscotch, nobody wants the black licorice. That's not the case. With women, they want it all. They desire bad emotions. I understand. Doesn't make sense. But that's women, okay? That's affect. Now, on their way down, they hit the danger zone. When women hit the danger zone, they become self-destructive and they start blaming other people. Now, keep in mind, each one of these tick marks, like I said, it represents a different emotion. It represents a different feeling. There are different feelings and emotions that come with being self-destructive. The best way I can really explain it is kind of like people who have risky sex, like they have sex in public places. It's like the thrill of getting caught, right? Almost like a criminal type deal. They like being self-destructive. They know they're being self-destructive. They know they're destroying their own life and they're doing it on purpose. Then they start blaming everybody for their bad decisions and then they hit rock bottom. Now, before they go back up to normal, they have to have a healing phase. And in that healing phase, they are the victim and they have to have forgiveness. Now, you notice I have a double arrow right here. If they are not perceived as the victim, if you don't allow them to be the victim and you don't give them forgiveness, they'll go right back down to rock bottom and back down to the blame game and being self-destructive. This whole area here, zero accountability. That's where that comes from. Now, if they get to be the victim and you give them forgiveness, then they'll go back to being normal and you get to play the game all over again. This whole thing is based off of cause and effect. You did something that caused them to have an affect. That is, you did something that caused them to experience emotions, both positive and negative. That's this over here. And the effect is that they get to have zero accountability for how they act. Most of their actions are going to be self-destructive, right? They're going to be the victim, even though they're the ones doing all the wrong, and they're going to have to get forgiven. This is why we call this the danger zone, because once they get here, no accountability. Now, all of this is based off of your girlfriend or wife or daughter is based off that 30-day cycle of her having her period. If your girlfriend, if your wife, if your daughter, whoever, if that person is on birth control, this entire cycle can be something that happens twice a month, 3 times a month. It could be every week they go through this. But this is why women are so damn chaotic, because this is what they desire in general. Keep in mind, affect. This is something you as a man, you will never experience the desire for affect. Men don't necessarily want negative emotions. We want positive emotions. We experience negative emotions, but women desire to feel bad and feel good. That's something that's foreign to men. So just understand this. Okay. So you guys get the picture, right? You guys, that was my little think piece I was going to post a couple years back on another channel, but you guys get it. But that's what it is. That's what it is. You guys are dealing with people and you think that they're normal. You think that they're regular. It says, when I look at it, it looks like they have no accountability at all stages. They realistically don't. Realistically, they don't. And Hard 9, I'm not skipping you. I'm just addressing this real quick. Women don't have any accountability at any point in time in life. They never have it, and they're never going to have it. And the only way they're going to have it is when men force it upon them. And even when they do that, the women aren't going to be like, all right, you caught us. We'll be accountable now. Like the culture has to change. We have a culture that allows for it. So of course they're not going to go for it. Right? Of course they're not going to be accountable. Now Harden says, what is your opinion of black pill theory? I think black pill theory is realistically pragmatic theory, and it's very accurate, and people can't stomach it because it's too realistic. It's too raw. It exposes the reality of things. Right? That idea of, just work hard and good things will happen. Black pill theory is exposing the notion that hard work pays off, or that there's always a solution. There's not always a solution, right? Women are showing you guys that you should be black pilled, right? I'm not going to tell you to be, destructive. Me personally, I have a standing thought process. I have my standing orders, right? The way I operate is no gas, no water. I am not going to throw gas on the fire of American society. I'm not going to throw gas on it, right? I'm not going to do anything to make it worse, but I ain't doing nothing to make it better. I didn't start the fire. I can't put the fire out. And if I do put the fire out, I don't benefit. The people who started the fire need to learn. There's a hard lesson that needs to be learned. No gas, no water. What was it? Batman Begins, when he was fighting the guy from Taken. And he was like, I don't have to save you. I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you. You started this fight. Now deal with it. That's how I look at it with black pill theory. I don't have to save you. And black pill, as long as you don't crawl into the recesses of your mind and become destructive towards others, because you don't want to become a destructive person. But the reality of it all is, the more you look at female behavior and what men are willing to do to aid and abet female behavior, how can you not be black pilled? There's no hope on the other side of this. You think men are just going to stop simping one day? It's never going to happen. Right? It's never going to happen. And women aren't going to go backwards. That's the other part of black pill theory that I think people don't pay attention to. Even if men walk away, women aren't going to be like, oh man, we messed up. We chased all the men away. They're going to double down on foolishness, because they know if society collapses, it's not on them to repair it. This is why typically we never put women forward as full-fledged members of society. We always kept things from them because if they mess it up, they don't have to fix it. They don't have any skin in the game. Like how are you going to hold them accountable? It's like Red said. They don't have any accountability. That's why I did that whole think piece. It says the only way is because when I look at it, it looks like they have no somebody. I don't know. There's some phantom comments. Let's see if it popped up over here. Because when I look at it, it looks like that. Okay. There's the only way women will be held accountable. Women aren't going to be held accountable. I don't know what the comment was because it disappeared twice. But women aren't going to be held accountable. That you guys have to understand. If you guys watch enough red pill comments, commentary channels and stuff like that, and one of the people I keep putting out here, I don't know if you guys ever watch him, is a guy named Coach Greg Adams. Right? Let me go back to the very first video, right? In case you guys didn't see, this is who I'm talking. I know a lot of you guys don't watch this stuff. I shout him out all the time because I watch him all the time. And for who is it? For Hard 9, his theories are basically red pill, or it's basically black pill, but he calls it after pill, right? This is after pill. So I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about.
Somebody said, because women are the prize.
This was the
I
very
don't
first
agree women are the prize
video that I played.
All right. I don't agree that women are the prize. And there's one reason why T Diamond, and she's a female supporter. The one reason why women are not the prize is because everything that they do produces debt. Now, let's say I gave you a gift and that.
So just that one statement right there, that's a black pill statement, right? I mean, it's a red pill statement, but his whole thought process is sort of black pill. It's looking at women from the most pragmatic standpoint. It's stripping away all the romance and all the lust, right? You guys have no clue how much men are willing to put up with when it comes to women in the name of just lust. Because they're lusting after women, certain things are just not a problem. And this guy is telling you everything that they do is non-productive. Says CJ advocates for what he calls the free agent lifestyle, which involves not spending time on women. He argues it's better to spend money on women than time. I mean, that's the top of pragmatism. That's the top tier of pragmatism, right? I'm not going to tell you to do that, right? I'm not going to come out here and say, oh man, just pay for women, sexually, because there are harsh ramifications that come with that. You got to understand he's 50. So he's 50. He has 2 adult children. His son is going off to college. He's already won the game of life. So for younger people, it's like the free agent lifestyle kind of strips you of what you need to experience in life. Like you want to try your hand at love and everything like that. You just want to have a good outcome. He's already done it. So he's on the back end of life. He's on the back end of life as a winner, right? You don't, like, a lot of us don't have the victories. So the free agent lifestyle sounds good. It's a bit hard to digest, but I don't necessarily advocate it because you can't have the family with the free agent lifestyle. Now, if you take some other method, can you have the family then? Like women don't want families. Women do not want families. And if they do have a family, they don't want to be held down by the family. They want to have the family and then they want to be in charge of the family. And then when everything falls apart, they want to be able to divorce you and take yours. And it's chaos. Right? And that's really why I embrace the black pill, because it's chaos no matter what. It's just, with the free agent lifestyle, you're kind of not attached to anything. But if you're younger, you still got all that testosterone. You still want to have the family. You still want to leave your mark and you want to conquer. So it's natural for you to want the family and you to want to do the things. That's why I don't push the free agent lifestyle onto younger people, because you guys want love and you guys want families and you can have it. It's just like, I don't have the solution for you. I don't have that solution for you. All right. You guys just have to understand where we are. The only way you're going to be able to have that family is if you sit a woman down and tell her exactly, this is how I look at the world. I look at it from a very harsh standpoint. I think all women are the problem. I think, every woman is an undercover womanist. I think every woman is, going to turn on me. So we got to hammer out a deal, right? You might have to get in lieu of marriage, you might have to have some sort of legal connection, that you just go through lawyers. Like, look, we're not married, but we're going to live in this house together and I'm going to put you on the lease. Like you have to find a new way forward, because I'm putting it to you like this. Marriage is going to lead you to getting your head chopped off legally and financially. So yeah, black pill is that's pretty much the future. Black pill is pretty much the future.
I saw a TikTok today that said it's impossible to enjoy something that you had to beg for. And ain't that the truth? Because the truth is, when I tell you over and over again that this is what makes me happy, and your response isn't immediately, yes, okay, let me change it, then what are we doing together? I think so much of my married life I spent waiting and waiting for my ex-husband to show up. And not just my ex-husband, but like every other previous relationship. And I think to myself, if someone is telling you directly, without you having to go through all these games and challenges and mazes, that this is what I need to be happy, I'm going to be a happier person, and thus I'm going to show up with more happiness in the relationship, then why isn't that your priority? And by the time you do it, guess what? You've already taken the joy out of it. When you're constantly begging someone to give you what you need in order to be happy and fulfilled, that means that that person doesn't genuinely care for you. And this is probably the biggest sign that somebody doesn't take your happiness as their happiness. They don't make your sadness as their sadness. They don't take your grief as their grief. They don't.
Okay, I'm going to cut her off because she's about to yap for another minute. You guys see what I'm saying? Right? We're saying women are the prize, and this is an objectively decent looking woman. I mean, she's lacquered with makeup head to toe, right? I've seen enough get readies with me to know that she is lacquered. She got all the stuff painted on, right? But with all her war paint on, she does look very. Hold on. No. Oh, never mind. But with all her war paint on, she looks very, very attractive. But what is she saying? Me, 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 me. It's all about me. In her mind, it's all about her. My happiness should be your happiness. My sadness should be your sadness. And you need to be doing things to make me happy. I'm telling you, make me happy. Happiness is not this thing that I can make you like it's a sandwich, right? You have to choose to be happy. Happiness is like walking around the block to get your heart rate up. You have to choose to stay in shape. You have to choose it. Most people, I can give you what you need to be content, but you have to choose to say, okay, I know that there's more I could have, but I'm good with what I got. Women don't do that. The only thing that makes them happy is having more. Give me more. That's the prize. You have this prize that has to be maintained over this long period of time, and it keeps breaking down. Who wants that? Who in the world wants that? But this is what you guys are dealing with when you go out there and you try to get married. You try to have the family. You try to do it the right way. You're going to run into this buzzsaw of a woman who her only thought is give me, make me happy, give me things. Because if you look for happiness, you'll never find it. Happiness is fleeting. You get a new object, you get a thing, you accomplish a goal, and okay, I'm happy for a time. And then what? You're empty until the next thing. This is why I say you got to be content. Women don't want to be content because they look at being content as I just took a loss. There's more that I could have. There's more to get, but I'm settling. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to just keep accumulating things. You're going to keep conquering. That's what women want. They want to keep conquering. I want more. And if you guys remember back to my little whole math video, right, that I did on my chalkboard. If you guys think back to that video, what do women want? They want to feel everything. This woman said that in all of her previous relationships, she's waiting for the person to show up. So that means in all of her previous relationships, she was the problem because she was waiting for other people to serve her. This is what it is. But we're telling ourselves that women are the prize, right?
Prioritize your well-being. And the constantly begging for love makes you feel like you have to beg for love. That love doesn't come easy. That love is scarce. It's hard to get, and especially for you. Because why doesn't it bother you that I don't have what I need?
Are you guys listening to what this person is saying? Why doesn't it bother you that I don't have what I need? You got what you need. You just want more. This is love. Love is you making me happy. Love is an action. Love is an action. So that means I have to do specific actions that make you happy. So I got to tiptoe around your emotions. Were you guys all tuned in when I played the video about the woman who was talking about premenopause? We're going to finish this and we're going to go back to that.
Were you so comfortable sitting there watching me ask and ask and ask over again without feeling any sort of trigger in yourself to be like, let me do something? Because 9 times out of 10, if I'm asking you to change, I'm also willing to change. And to me, when people are willing to let you stay in that state for so long, that means that they genuinely don't care about you being happy.
All this woman is talking about is being happy. Happy, happy, happy. Now, I want you guys to watch this.
If you're a parent, then
Not that one.
Welcome to Mom.
Not that one.
This might sound really stupid, but I had no idea that perimenopause was a thing until I was in it. I legit thought we turned 50, 55, showed up at menopause for a couple of years, and then that was it.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, this woman is talking about premenopause, and premenopause is premenopause. Menopause is that stage where a woman's body goes from, having periods because it's fertile to shutting down. Now she's no longer fertile. I'm not going to say she's not a woman anymore. She's just not capable of having kids after that. And it absolutely obliterates her sex drive. But in order for her body to shut down in that particular regard, there's like these wild hormonal swings. It's like they're on their period, except it's on steroids. It's insane.
But that's not it. Perimenopause could start as early as 35.
35. 30% of women will experience premenopausal symptoms at around 30 in their 30s, in their mid to late 30s. So I want you to think about this. This woman, right? This other woman who was talking about how she just wants to be happy.
I saw a TikTok today that said it's impossible to enjoy something that you had to beg for.
All right, let me move this over. So this woman here with all the war paint, who's clearly in her 30s. This woman is not in her 20s. She's in her early to mid 30s. And this woman over here in the car, she's talking about premenopause that happens at around 35 years old for 30% of women. Imagine you get with this woman. Camera's backwards. Imagine you get with the woman with all the war paint and she's begging you for all of this love and you're not doing enough and I'm not happy. My happiness isn't your happiness. Come to find out, she's going through premenopause. I'm breaking my back to make you happy and you going through premenopause. But women are the prize. It says, yes, because her body is telling her to go have kids now before it's too late. Well, you know what's crazy? Once the premenopause hits, like you ain't having no kids. that it's over. Like some women, their bodies shut down and they're not having kids. Like they hit that infertility quicker, right? It's just like puberty. Like some people hit puberty before others. Some women's bodies shut down and go through that before others. He says premenopause is 12 consecutive months with no period. Once she has gone 12 consecutive months with no period, read into the mic. He says premenopause is 12 consecutive months with no period. Once she has gone 12 consecutive months with no period, then she's post-menopause and her reproductive years are behind her. Yeah, yeah. I'm not about to sit up here and discuss women's like stuff like that because I just don't know. But I know menopause ain't a joke. And I know you got the lady over here wanting to be happy. And then you got the other one over here talking about premenopause at 35. So I want you to think about this. You get into a relationship with a woman who's complaining about being happy all the time. Unbeknownst to her, she's going through premenopause. I'm going to let this lady finish telling you guys about premenopause.
Continue into late 40s, then menopause kicks in, could last into late 50s. We're talking 20 potential years of hormonal fluctuation.
20 potential years because it's premenopause. So this can be extended for a very long time. Most women don't go through actual menopause until like late 40s to 50. So that goes back to Hard and Nine, his comment. It's 12 months. So she could be not having a period for like 10 months. Then she has a period. Like this can go on forever. And you're stuck with this woman talking about happiness and she going through hormones and she keeping a running checklist of everything you did that pissed her off so she don't have to have sex with you. Think about that. But women are the prize. Nah. No. Oh, let me let this lady finish.
That induces symptoms like brain fog, night sweats, joint pain, loss of joy, loss of libido.
Loss of joy. Loss of joy. I'm not happy. What did the other woman say? I'm not happy. I want you to make me happy. In all my previous relationships, I wasn't happy and I was waiting for them to make me happy. Why isn't my happiness your priority? This is what you're dealing with. This is your prize. This is your prize.
Loss of self, food aversion, mouth burning, skin that never...
Your mouth burning? Why is your mouth... We can find something to do with that hot mouth, but that's neither here nor there.
Stops itching, hip pain, depression, anxiety. I was not prepared for any of this.
Depression, anxiety, hip pains, all of that. That's your prize. That is your prize. She got all this going on. She got all this going on. Meanwhile, it's your job to keep her happy while her body is shutting down. And I'm just supposed to know. I'm just supposed to know that your body is shutting down and you go. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, how are we saying women are the prize when all of this is a possibility? How do I know? Like I said before, imagine you get with a woman at like 27. Both of you guys are late bloomers. You get with her at 27. By 30, you guys have your first kid. By 30, you guys have your first kid. By 35, she's going through premenopause. She going through premenopause at 35. Y'all got a 5-year-old. You got 15 more years with you got 13 more years with this woman. 13 more years of no sex. But you got 13 more years of no sex. Don't touch me. The kids touch me too much. My mouth is burning. I'm itching. But this is the prize? Come on, man. I'm not trying to be mean to this person, but come on.
Were you? Or am I the only one that showed up here clueless?
And yes, what's going to happen? You're going to walk into that relationship clueless. He said, I don't mind hip pain. He says, What's your opinion of guys in the passport community who get a wife from a third world country and move her to our? I'm going to assume you're saying to our country. You think that is safe? Safe bet for a man wanting to have a family? No, absolutely not. First of all, when it comes to the passport movement, I'm gonna put it to you like this. I want you to really think from a logical standpoint. From a logical standpoint, if those women were good women and they were loyal, why aren't they already with the men in that country? Like I get it. Like the men in that country are underperforming, but they're holding out for a passport bro. Passport bros is some stuff that happened within the last 6, 7 years, right? Whenever Kevin Samuels blew up, passport bros really blew up in like 2019. But every man in the military who has a passport has been a passport bro. Every man who went to Phuket, he went to Thailand, he went to the Philippines, he went to some other country and saw, oh man, these women are beautiful and they're feminine and they're submissive. That's where you get the passport bros from. Says Neo Mas, thanks for the 222 blessings. Well, I'll receive it. Thank you for the blessings. It says so you kind of have to think, if those women were really good women, they would already be with one of those guys thugging it out, struggling it out. They're holding out for something more, because most of those women have experienced men with more money, whether those guys were, tourists, military, whatever. So they're mostly sex workers anyway. It says, I meant moving to her country. So I meant moving to her country. Most guys in the passport community, once they find a wife, are moving to her country. They are not bringing her to America. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Here's the problem with moving to their country. You have to know the tempo of that country, and most Americans don't know the tempo of that country. You're going to go over there. You have no family. You have no real support system. You have money, right? But the fact remains, she's been holding out for a higher level guy. Most of those women who are there and they're like, let's say they're young and they are in that age range that are, you can marry them, you can have kids. A lot of them have been turned in tricks. Like, you got to understand, outside of America, sex work is not frowned upon. It just is what it is. Like, sex work is not frowned upon outside of America the same way it is in America. It's only frowned upon in America because we prop ourselves up as the moral authority to the world. So we have to be hard on it. But when you go to other countries, most of those women have done that. They have all monetized themselves. They've all put themselves on somebody's payroll. They've all been somebody's girl. There's some gangster, some military guy, some business guy they've been selling themselves to. A lot of times the women kind of sell their daughters out, right? So you have to be okay. This brings us to the question of body count. Does body count matter? And it's like, if you think body count matters, don't become a passport bro, because you ain't getting a girl with a low body count, right? So would I go over to those countries? It depends. Do you know the divorce laws? Because what a lot of men don't understand is a woman no matter where you find her. A woman is a woman no matter where you find her. She's not going to stop being a woman because you saved the day. That idea that women want you to save the day and they're going to be so grateful, she's going to love me. No, she's not. Because if that were the case, they would do that here. Right? So I get it. Would I personally go become a passport bro? Probably not. It says Brazil, for example, prostitution is legal and there are a lot of brothels in that country. Man, almost every bar in Brazil is a brothel. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And it's crazy. Yeah. So you have to think, man. Yeah. Those women they've all been for sale. They've all done it. So you kind of just have to ask yourself, can you build an infrastructure? Do you have a business over there, or are you just living over there? Do you speak the language? Little things like that. Like if you are a blessing to like the community, like let's say you go over there and you have a business, it makes it harder for that woman to leave you because like all of her community is eating because of you. Like you brought commerce, you brought business. Now, if you just have money, a little bit different. Like they just see you as a mark, right? Now, can you go over there and find a wife, marry her, and then she's going to act right? She'll act better than what you'll get over here because they're more family oriented, but you're still going to have the same problems, right? You're still going to have a lot of the same problems. Like the passport movement is not a solution, but you would have to have the highest degree of success, you have to stay over there. So if you're willing to stay over there, you're going to have a much higher degree of success. There are no perfect women. There is no perfect solution, but there's a reason why the passport movement works, right? But that comes with other stuff like the locals trying to rob you and people trying to extort you and stuff like that. They don't have the same legal system, right? So as long as you're willing to stay over there, you have a better chance at success. It says also, wouldn't it mean you have to apply for citizenship? Yeah. Coming from America is not like if you come from America or if you come from a higher economic status country, it's not too difficult to get citizenship. And a lot of places do dual citizenships. So, it just depends. Let's see what else we got on the doc. But do you guys see what I'm saying now, man? Like, just imagine you married.
And ain't that the truth? Because the truth is, when I tell you over and over again that this is what makes me happy, and your response isn't immediately, yes, okay, let me.
Pyro the Flame King, thanks for the $2, man. Appreciate the support. It says Passport Bros should stay here and deal with it. You should just stay here and get your bag up, man. I get the passport movement, but it's like, it's not going to change for you overseas. And then you got to think about the quality of life. Like you can live really high, but it's just like, are you living like, and depending on where you go, you got to deal with tsunamis and stuff. You got to deal with earthquakes. I'm not trying to get swept away. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's, it's not the silver bullet.
Change it, then what are we doing together? I think so much of my married life I spent waiting and waiting for my ex-husband to show up. And not just my ex-husband, but like every other previous relationship.
Every other previous relationship. This woman was just waiting for people to make me happy, slave. Hey, slave, dance a jig and make me happy. My ice cream is cold. Go get me more. What? What are we talking about? I mean, the big thing for me, and this is going to sound completely stupid. I just wonder what this woman looks like without the makeup. Because it's like with the makeup, it's like, okay, maybe depending on how she's built, I'm willing to deal with these issues. But it's like, I just know when she takes that makeup off, she looks like the Crypt Keeper. She has to look terrible. When you put that much makeup on, you have to look awful with it off. And that's what you're actually dealing with. Oh man, that's terrible. Let's move on.
So Brett Farrelly, who went viral for his insane paternity fraud story recently, was just arrested and made to take down all of his videos. It's a lot, but I'll give you the quick breakdown. So Brett is a young man who ends up getting approached by an older woman named Maria who asks him to be her sperm donor. She convinces him with paperwork and everything that it's all on the up and up. He's not going to be legally responsible for this child. Despite this arrangement and them only having a one-night stand to complete this arrangement, Maria ends up finding Brett's mom and grandma and tells them that she's she's pregnant with Brett's child and convinces them that he should be involved with the pregnancy. His mom and grandma now want to be a part of the baby's life, so they convince Brett that he should be too. So he agrees to start paying child support. But after a little over a year, having paid now $55,000 to this woman for this baby, he ends up taking a paternity test and finds out the baby isn't even his. Not only that, but Brett finds out that Maria likely knew who the real father was this entire time, but refused to disclose it because the real father was married to another woman at the time.
Okay. I'm gonna pause it right there because she's about to go on for about another minute. Pyro the Flame King said the Crypt Keeper. I was hoping somebody would have got that. Yeah, okay. So if you guys didn't hear what this woman was saying, well, I'm sure you did. This younger guy, much younger guy, gets approached by an older woman. She wants to have a baby. He agrees. First of all, that's mistake number one. When older women come to you, they always want something. They're always trying to beat the buzzer. You always avoid them. But then he agrees to be the sperm donor, but he doesn't go to a sperm bank. He actually sleeps with this woman and does it the old-fashioned way. Then his own mother and grandmother convince him to be a part of the kid's life. His own mom and grandma set him up. Oh, I want a grandson. I want to know my grandson. So they set this man up like a wide-mouthed bass to get his head lobbed off. He said they arrested. Yeah, they arrested him. He said, "Isn't this entrapment?" It would have been entrapment if they would have done it the legal way. Like if they would have went through a sperm bank, it would be. But he was stupid and he actually slept with the woman and then he signed the birth certificate. So it's like they had a relationship. Like, and his mom and grandma were the ones who convinced him to do it. Just stupid. He said, wow, this guy needs well, he got a lawyer, but
Oops! So Brett goes to court for paternity fraud, asking for his name to be taken off the birth certificate, child support to end, and to be paid back for all the child support he did pay. In a kind of surprising victory, the courts actually do agree to end Brett's parental and child support obligations, but they don't make Maria pay him back, and I'm pretty sure his name is still on the birth certificate. The judge also assigns a mutual restraining order for the both of them, meaning that neither of them can ever talk about this case again. Basically a gag order. But according to Brett, Maria broke this order almost immediately by contacting his family, telling them that he's a deadbeat who abandoned his child. So Brett decides that he too is going to defy the order and clear his name. And that's when he made a multi-part series detailing all the lies, how he got played, and also his own mistakes along the way to help educate other men. I actually remember one interview where Brett was asked what he would tell his younger self if he could, and he said that if he had ever heard a story even remotely similar to what he went through, he would have never been in that situation. So his story does have the ability to prevent this from happening.
Okay. So she's still got like another minute. But see, here's the problem. This man thought that the courts were going to work in his favor. And this is one of the reasons why I tell you guys, you stay out of the court system. You got to stay out of the court system. It doesn't matter. Like you got to think, he had to hire an investigator. He had to hire lawyers and investigators to get all of this done. What if you don't have that kind of money? You just you just getting raked over the coals. It was lucky on his part that he had the money to have lawyers. He had the money to get this whole thing resolved, but he still had to pay the lawyer. He still had to go to the courts. He still looked like a fool in the court of public opinion. And then they're calling him a deadbeat. Calling him a deadbeat for a kid that's not even his. So you're clearly dealing with the woman who's mentally deranged. I mean, they got this guy so bad. But see, this is why and you guys have to understand, women do not honor contracts. They don't honor contracts. They don't honor deals. I'm not going to sit up here and just bash women. There are great women out there for the YouTube. I'm not bashing women. I love women. They're amazing people. But the women who decide to go bad, how do you hold them accountable? How do you hold them accountable? She can do all of this and she's not going to do a day in jail and she's not going to have to pay back any of that money that you paid her. Because guess what, people? Paternity fraud is not a crime. It's perfectly legal for her to fleece you like that. Women are the prize, though, right? Is it calling him a deadbeat is wild? Absolutely wild. That about the passport movement, note to self, guy, about the passport movement, real passport bros don't bring these chicks back home to the state. They sure don't. They stay right where they're at. Because they know once you bring them back, it's over. They're going to leave you. If you bring them back, they're going to 100% leave you.
But obviously, the courts don't want this story out there. Why? It just makes you wonder, especially when you consider that in other countries like France, it's actually illegal for men to perform paternity tests on their kids without the mother's permission because, in their words, it would destabilize the community.
I want you guys to clock that right there. In France, the whole behavior is at such a degree, it's clearly over 9,000. The whole behavior is so out of control that it's illegal to perform a paternity test. It's illegal. You're breaking the law. Why? Because 304 is life in France. That's why. Do you guys see what I'm saying here? Women are supposed to be the prize, right? But their behavior, their sexual promiscuity is at such a degree that in a country like France, they have to make it illegal for the man to find out the truth behind his genes. Why? Because the women are hoeing so much that if all the men find out, it's going to destabilize. Do you know what it takes to destabilize something? Like a movement that destabilizes, some piece of information that is so explosive that it destabilizes the...
kids without the mother's permission because, in their words, it would destabilize the community.
It would destabilize the whole community. Bro, how? How? What are we talking about here? But we say women are the prize, but they are hoeing so much that it destabilizes entire communities? Because you know it's not every guy. It's a lot of Africans and a lot of Muslims over there in France. So I'm going to just say it's a lot of Chads and it's a lot of Tyrones and Alibabas or whoever who are over there knocking these girls down. Like what are... But y'all want to get married. This is outrageous. That is insane.
And honestly, this whole concept that you have to prove paternity fraud is also crazy to me because it's like, did she say the kid was his? Did the DNA test say that it isn't? Seems to me that there was pretty clear deception involved. But we do have to learn from this. And honestly, this is why a lot of guys are very hesitant to sign anything until they get that DNA test.
See, this is what I was talking about when I went on that rant about the pyramids and us finding out knowledge from the old days. And I was talking about fallen women. We put women on this pedestal and we think that they can do no wrong. And then we see all the wrong that they're capable of. I'm not saying men wouldn't do the same thing if they had the ability to do it, but that's the whole point. The overwhelming majority of men cannot get so much access to sex that their sexual abilities, their sexual promiscuity can destabilize a whole community. It's like 1% of men can do that, but all women can be a participant in it. This is why I'm telling you, you have to rethink. There's knowledge about women, and that knowledge is negative. Just like the woman said, in France, the genetic knowledge cannot be gained unless the woman grants it. They don't want you to know your genetics. Why? Because women's behavior is so wild that it would destabilize the entire community if you knew the truth about what your woman was doing.
Do you have the stomach?
I don't think you guys have the stomach. That's what France said. France said, you don't have the stomach. It said destabilize the community. Yeah, that's how crazy it is. He said, I heard it smells bad in France, but that must be why. There's a lot of, like, France doesn't look like what you think. Like, when you think France, you think white people. It's a lot of Muslims and a lot of Africans that are in. France is like New York City now. It's like New York. It's not, it ain't what you think it is. So Red KO says destabilize the community? Question mark. Yeah. It means it would throw it into out of whack. Because all these men would find out that they're not the father of those kids.
This is also why I think it's really important for women to stop taking DNA tests so personally and making it this big relationship-ending deal. You should want to be able to offer your man that reassurance, and you should also want that reassurance yourself.
Chris said too many women and children would go hungry as the father would bow out immediately for the most part. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. Like you're talking 30, 40% of fathers like, whoa, I'm not the father. Out of there immediately.
After all, hospital switch-ups do happen to women too. They can shut him up, but they can't shut us all up, and men need to hear this stuff. Men deserve to know if their kid is theirs or not without being shamed for wanting to know that.
They don't want y'all to know the truth. Do you even want to know the truth?
Do you have the stomach?
Do y'all have the stomach? I don't think they have the stomach in France. The French government, the French government looked all them folks in the eyes and was like,
stomach?
They ain't got the stomach. Man, that's absolutely insane. He said French government doesn't want to foot the bill. No, they don't want to foot the bill. They know it's going to be on them because they imported all them people. Now they got to deal with it. But this is what I'm telling you guys. There are things that we used to know about women that we used to just accept. And then we put them on this pedestal and we stop talking about the truth. I think she looks like a solid 3 without the makeup. Yeah, that other chick, she'd be terrible. She'd be terrible without the makeup. And see that's the thing that really kills me. Women, they got access to all this makeup and they can just doll themselves up and everything they are is fake. The eyebrows is fake. Eyelashes is fake. The eyes themselves are fake. They got it on contacts. The hair is fake. Everything you see on their face, fake. The lips are fake. The boobs are fake. Everything is fake. And then we're supposed to accept these women as they are. And then say, oh man, the women can do no wrong. They're just these great people. He said increased retirement age too is wild. Yeah. Well, I mean, ain't nobody retiring. Nobody's retiring anytime soon. That's not happening. If you think you're retiring at any meaningful age, you're wrong. Called it the fake up. Yeah, it's a fake up. You don't know what these women. I put it to you like this. You would 100% not treat women the same way if you saw what they really looked like. If women weren't allowed to have makeup, you wouldn't treat them the same way. You wouldn't. Because all of that beauty is gone. Like they walk around living a lie for the most part. They're walking around living a lie. And then, we put them on a pedestal because of that lie. And then this is what it leads to. We got France, a whole country, a whole European country where the men are raising other people's kids because cheating is just that abundant. But yet we tell ourselves women are the prize. How are women the prize when if men were to learn the paternity of their children, it would destabilize the community because so many men would walk away. How are we saying women are a prize? It doesn't make sense. And like the guy was saying, paternity fraud should be a crime, but it's not a crime. You guys know why paternity fraud is not a crime? There's exactly one reason why paternity fraud is not a crime. Paternity fraud is not a crime because the government benefits from it. No matter who the baby daddy is, somebody has to pay. They can put the bill on somebody, one way or the other. Hard Nine said, regarding retirement age, as more jobs get automated away, you're going to see more governments enacting UBI, and the UBI will replace most existing safety net programs. Yeah, you're going to get a UBI. You're going to get that universal basic income, which all the normies and all the losers were all too happy to take. And then you're going to be on the government teat, and you're going to be a slave to the government. You'll be a slave to the government. It's a birth certificate. Also, all kids during marriage are considered yours. Yeah. Every one of the kids is considered yours. That woman can go out there and fleece you with all kinds of kids, all kinds of paternity fraud. There's nothing you can do. You are stuck. Once those kids pop out, you don't even have to sign the birth certificate. You were with her. She lives at your house. Them's your kid. There's certain states like that. I don't know if Texas is a state like that, but I know there are states like that. Like there's no justice for men. Like there's absolutely no justice for men. Like you're gonna go out there and you're gonna imagine working hard to be a good man, becoming an engineer, doctor, lawyer, something like that. You get with this woman, you treating her all nice. You're making sure you're doing things to be nice to her and keep her happy. She hitting you with some chalkboard list of reasons she don't want to have sex with you, and you're like, all right, I guess. Only to find out the kid ain't yours. This is how people go postal. I can't do it. This is exactly why I couldn't get married.
What do women wish that their male partners knew about how female desire works? So, if your woman isn't jumping your bones, it's not because she doesn't want you or find you attractive. It's that 85% of women have what's called responsive desire. So, for us to say yes to, our bodies need some conditions to be met, which could be emotional connection, pleasurable sensations, safety, time, a clean environment. Think about it biologically. Wouldn't it make sense that the person who takes on the risks of pregnancy has more prerequisites for baby-making activities? At the end of the day, there's nothing you can do to change our responsive desire. So work with us and accept us and get curious about what we might need to feel excited to say yes.
Are you guys starting to get what I'm driving at here? You guys are like, people are saying women are the prize, but they keep telling you we need all this stuff to get turned on after you commit to us. Women are apparently in France throwing ass in a circle and just busting it down with everybody. But all of a sudden, they need a clean environment. They need all, what does she say they need?
Sensations, safety, time, a clean environment.
They need emotional connection, pleasurable sensations, safety, time, in a clean environment. So why are so many women getting pregnant in Black neighborhoods, in Hispanic neighborhoods? Why do all the Africans have access to all the women over there in France and they just getting everybody pregnant. How did you even get the marriage? Did you need all of this when y'all was dating and y'all was going at it like jackrabbits? How is it only after the marriage you need all this crap? Chris said, Frederick, your nuanced risk assessment is gifted. Just wanted to say in my house, we say, let's check out Frederick's Genius video. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all the support. Because that's why I give Islamic men a lot of credit. They are realists. They don't worship women like Western men and are brainwashed to. They do not treat women as the prize. It's stuff like this. You're telling me you need emotional connection, you need pleasurable sensations, you need safety, time, and a clean environment. But you didn't need that when y'all was dating. There's a guy you dated in college who didn't give you any of that. I just showed you guys a video where a woman is saying, I can't stand my stable husband. My husband is stable. I don't like that.
I saw a TikTok today.
I hated my healthy relationship. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Everything seemed extremely foreign to me. I even remember at the beginning of my relationship, I'm like, hey, there's a part of me inside that does not like you.
This woman was given emotional connection, pleasurable sensations. She was given safety, time, and a clean environment. And she hated the guy for it. Women are the prize, though, right? Do you guys, has anybody given up yet? Like, what are we talking about? You got one woman saying that I was married to a great guy. I was with a great guy and I hated him for being great. He was too stable. He was too emotionally available. He was too good of a man. He wanted me to be at my best.
And I said it with like a comical relief, but I was really serious. Like, there was a part of me that did not like this person, did not like how he held me accountable.
She was really serious, even though she said it in jest. She didn't like this. I don't like how you hold me accountable. I don't like how you're so responsible. It makes me have to be a better person. All the while, you got Miss Redhead with the big forehead over here talking about, I need a clean environment. I need time and safety. I need pleasurable sensations. I need an emotional connection. Are you guys not seeing the foolishness? Are we not seeing the foolishness yet? Pyro the Flame King, thanks for the $2. It says, that's why the Middle East folks don't play with women. They don't play. You guys notice wherever feminism goes, destruction follows. And feminism has not touched off in the Middle East. They're not playing that game. They don't even have to conquer the world. All they got to do is wait. Wait 20 years. Have a kid, wait 20 years. The world will be ripe for the taking. It's like the only people whose populations aren't collapsing is like Africa, Mexico, and like the Middle East. Everybody going to be speaking Spanish and Arabic. So they look at American women and say to their women and say, we're not doing that. Yeah, we're not doing that over there. They don't play that. You're gonna get your head removed from your shoulders if you try that stuff over in an Arab country. They're not playing that. Not one bit do they play that. But like this is what I'm saying. How are you supposed to function as a man? How are you supposed to function as a man in a relationship where on one end, the woman is telling you, I hate you because you're so good and you don't allow me room to be a turd. And then on the other hand, the woman is telling you, I need all this stuff. I need all this stuff before I give you intimacy. Now, keep in mind, I already showed the video twice of the woman with the chalkboard talking about why I don't want to have sex with my husband. Imagine this woman when she gets kids. Like, you can't win. You cannot win. When this woman when the redhead woman gets kids, she's going to be saying, I need emotional connection, pleasurable sensation, safety time. I need a clean environment. I need the kids to not touch me. I need you to not say nothing annoying. I need you to not do anything. Do you guys see how quickly it adds up to you being in a sexless marriage with a woman who doesn't love you and kids that she's going to turn against you? And then she's going to take your house do you guys see how fast it all happens? But we said women were the prize, remember? We sat here and collectively said women are the prize. Meanwhile, what do you get? You are walking into misery, unavoidable misery. Women are the prize though, man. How? How are you the prize when I'm damned no matter what? I give you a clean and safe environment, you hate me. I don't give you that, you hate me. You make I give you kids, you give me a checklist as to why you won't give me sex. I go to France, the kid ain't mine. I go over there to France, I got to do all of this in French. I got to give you all of this in French and the kid still ain't mine. What are we talking about? He said Chris said she wants a beta provider now. Surprise. Alpha fucks beta bucks. That's what they want. He says Chris says not a prize, it's a surprise. Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Like, how are you supposed to function?
I did not like how he held a mirror to my face. I did not like how he created situations where I had to be at my full potential. And
I don't like how you created situations where I have to be at my full potential. I don't like how good you are. Therefore, I'm going to give you a checklist. I'm going to give you a checklist.
Think about it biologically. Wouldn't it make sense that the person who takes on the risks of pregnancy has more prerequisites for baby-making activities?
What are you talking about, ma'am? Have you never been to a black neighborhood? What are we talking about? They have more prerequisites? Is that why women in France are tossing it at everything with a pulse to such an extent that if we find out the paternity of the children, the society will collapse? What are you saying? This is y'all's queen. She put on all that makeup and did her hair like that and put on that shirt, pushed the girls up to come out here and say this stupidness. This is y'all's queen. This is y'all's redhead queen. When you really start thinking about the stuff that women say, you understand you have to be black-pilled. We've given them a voice, and this is what they choose to say. You give them freedom, this is what they choose to do. I'm going to wait until after you commit to me to turn into something you would never commit to. Hard Nine said, when I say white knight, I'm referring to the men that you often criticize for volunteering to be free bodyguards and enforce for what this man, those dudes right there. This is why I tell you guys, you're dying for what? You're dying for this. Don't volunteer to be nobody's personal bodyguard. He said, I thought the only prerequisite was look good or be rich. That's all it is. Be Chad or be Chad's dad with lots of money. This is I'm telling you guys, when you get with these women, they're going to find a woman's form of love is all about how much are you going to give me and how little are you going to require of me. Women don't want to give you nothing. That's how women view love. What are you willing to give me and how little are you going to require of me? This is why women get into the relationship and they change the deal. Just like that, they change the deal. Right? This is one of the reasons why I could never get married. I know people who were, they were born in religious communities or they lived in religious communities and they went to church and all of that. And they were like, oh, we're going to wait till marriage. Imagine waiting till marriage and this is what you marry. I would lose my mind. Just imagine waiting until marriage and she pulls this. Oh, I need safety. I need time. I need words of affirmation. Like what? This is, well, Pyro the Flame King said, well, we get so much downsides being with women. The upsides are meager at best. Meager upside. Hard Nine said, Frederick G, do you think there will come a time when it will be unsafe to be a white knight as men become more disillusioned with women, meaning white knights getting, yeah. There's going to come when society starts to collapse and the economy really starts to nosedive and people are just struggling to get by. And, YouTube is no longer a viable source of income. And, all the girls have gone to OnlyFans and stuff like that. There's a real possibility, like when stuff like that happens, you don't see men stepping in those other countries. This is why you go to Mexico, you go to Brazil, you go to countries where they don't have a robust police force like what we have. You don't see men stepping up to protect women like that. You see women falling in with the most dangerous men because they need the protection. That's what happens. And all the other men are just like, hey, I ain't in it. There becomes a great separation. Right? This is why you always see in the movies or the comic books or whatever, there's always a woman who's with the bandits. The bandits always have access to women because they're dangerous. And the women are like, well, I would rather be with the more dangerous people and maybe they'll take care of me and feel something for me than be with the weak person who's going to, potentially let me get hurt. So there's going to be a great separation. So there ain't going to be no white knights because all the women are going to be with the thugs anyways. You see that in black neighborhoods. You see that in Mexican neighborhoods. You see that in the hood. Ain't no white knights in the hood. Why? Because you're going to get taken out. All the girls are with the most dangerous guys, right? Women in low income neighborhoods, in dangerous neighborhoods, they don't do anything to avoid dangerous men. They go to the dangerous men because they say, well, I'm going to go get with the thugs and the drug dealers and I'm going to let them protect me. Women don't at any point in time start seeking to avoid danger. That's not what they do. For the most part. It says, Christian families make me question marriage. Most Christians are, a lot of Christians are a bad example of love. I've heard it said that there's no hate quite like Christian love. And that's pretty sad. Now, I know tons of actual factual, like good Christians. They do it by the book. I know tons of them, right? So I will say I'm in a very privileged position, right? And I've been to other countries and I've seen the dark side of Islam, right? So I've seen the dark sides of Islam. I've seen the honor deletions and all of that. So I've seen it both sides. But yes, I will say the hypocrisy in your commercial Christians and all of that, yeah, it'll make you give up. Is that white knights retreat on a dime? Well, I mean, they should. Like, what are you really dying for? A smart man is not going to throw his life away for a woman that is not his. And this is why we have the saying, my woman. That's mine. You're mine. And women will be like, I'm not a piece of property. Okay, let the economy get bad and watch what you become. Watch what you become when the economy gets bad and it ain't nothing but wolves out there. What are you going to be then? You're going to be a piece of property. But you can't say that when society is up and active and working and civil. It's a daggum shame. I think I got a couple more videos.
Whenever I say we should be able to expect our partners to notice what needs to be done and do it, I always get someone in my comments saying, well, how hard is it to ask for help? I'm Gemma Hartley, author of Fed Up, Emotional Labor Women and the Way Forward, and let me tell you why. Imagine for a moment that you get home from work and your wife is sitting on the couch and she's not going to do jack shit until you tell her exactly what needs to be done. You know, the floor is dirty, the laundry hasn't been done, the kids haven't been fed, all of these things that she does every single day, she suddenly stops doing them until she's told exactly what needs to be done. Now, how could she know these things need to be done? She's not a mind reader. And you might think they're really obvious things that need to be done, but unless you're going to be a clear communicator, how can you expect her to know? Now imagine that you had to do that every single day. You might get a little fed up with it. You might get a little exhausted of constantly having to ask her to do really simple shit. And you might decide it's not worth the effort, and you just do it yourself anyway. Starting to see the problem here, buddy?
Okay, I see her point. Like, if I was going through that, I would be upset too. I'd be like, oh, man. I get what she's driving at. The problem is, why did you get with this guy? Like, this person did not just become this overnight. You knew what this guy was. You thought he was just going to change. In case you guys don't know, in the vast majority of the time, women get with a man hoping that he will change, and men get with women hoping that she won't change. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams. That's another one of his sayings. So a woman gets with a guy and she says, okay, he looks like he can be molded into what I want. Or she'll get with a guy and say, okay, I like him in this role, a role that he's not currently in. She just sees him and says, okay, I want to put you. It's like playing dress up with the doll. I could see you in this role. I could see you in this suit, right? And a man will get with a woman and pretty much accept her as she is. Like, oh, okay, this is exactly what I want. She's wifey material. And, he's getting all the sex in the relationship up front and everything like that. And he's hoping that it never stops. And obviously it does. She's going to change, right? So she's gotten with this guy knowing what he was. You married a slob. Like, this is like I said, like the girls who get with the bad guys. You got with a bad guy thinking you could change him. It says, you ever played Fallout 3? In that game, the world is blown up and there's a quest where two women are sleeping with a dude who is gunslinging to stay alive because the wasteland is full of a lot of bad people. Yeah. That's what it is. That happens in real time. Women they'll get with extremely dangerous men because they need the protection. Ilara, y'all hate women so much. Get a job. Lady, ma'am, with all due respect, first of all, thank you for coming to the stream. But you are 2 hours and 25 minutes late. We've said plenty of good things about women. We're not just here hating. We're here breaking down the nuance of the male-female dynamic. Don't come 2.5 hours late and say you hate women. We've been discussing a great many things. Make sure you watch the replay. Don't hop in the chat talking crazy. But this is another thing that you're going to deal with, right? Women don't know the whole story and they hop in the chat talking crazy. You guys hate women, get a job. This is my job. What is your job? Why are you watching me, ma'am? You clicked on my face in case you didn't realize that. You clicked on my ugly ass face and decided to say all of that. Thank you for your contributions, ma'am. They will be much appreciated. What are you talking about? We don't hate women. There's no hate over here. It says dangerous, so they don't want to die. Yeah, they don't want to die. That's all that really is. Either that or a dude or a real woman. Yeah. I would love to hear CGA talk about how he acquires women from community colleges. If you hang out on a campus and chat up women, it's only a matter of time before you get stopped by campus security. The JUCO, the junior college, that is a euphemism. It's a saying. Like, it's not an actual thing. Like he does the whole sugar sites, the sugar daddy sites. The girls are looking for a mutually beneficial arrangement. They'll give you an evening of their time and you'll give them a fee and you guys handle that on the back end. Right. But the JUCO, it's just a euphemism because the girls are all college age. So it's not actually that. Which I don't partake in that. There's too many risks associated with that. But I mean, if you want to go down that route, you can. But no, like this woman, I could see why she would be upset. But you married this dude thinking he was going to change into responsible husband material, and he never did. And that's not how people are. That's not how men are. That's why you marry the guy who's husband material. You don't go out there and just marry the hot guy. I'm going to go marry the hot guy. I'm going to go marry my fantasy guy. And then you marry the fantasy guy, and what happens? He never turns the leaf. He never changes. That's what mostly happens. And that's why women are frustrated. This goes back to the woman who was talking about, I was waiting in my previous marriage and all my previous relationships, I was waiting for the man to make me happy. You got with a guy who you knew wasn't capable of making you happy, and you thought you were going to win. You thought you were going to get him to change, and that's not how it works. Right? I'm not saying that a man should just be a slob. He certainly shouldn't just be, a slob. But at the same time, you're the one who got with him. You knew exactly what he was. You guys probably lived together. So, and for Hard 9, if you want to hear him talk about the JUCO, you have to go to he has a Locals stream. It's a paid stream. You got to go to Locals or Patreon, one of the two. He does all that behind a paywall, because you can't talk about that on YouTube. You certainly can't talk about it on YouTube. So there's that. I think I got one more for you guys.
Here's a little PSA, because I've had more than one little boy share this sentiment on my reel, and this PSA is going to be delivered in the same bitter tone. Women owe you absolutely nothing. Women don't owe you a perky voice or a cheery delivery of a message. They don't owe you a smile on the internet or in real life. Other things women don't owe you: a hairless body, a certain aesthetic, dyed hair, no wrinkles, eternal youth, a body that looks like it could belong to a teenager forever. We owe you none of these things. I don't owe you a conversation in the grocery store or on the subway or in a bar, even if you buy me a drink. You shouldn't tell me to smile, because I don't owe you that. I don't owe you a softer and more digestible existence. I can speak in a regular speaking voice, and I don't have to change that to be more tolerable to you. Women owe you nothing. Absolutely nothing. Hope this helps.
Okay, so you saw what Miss Green Bean had to say. Um, here's what I'm going to say to this. While it's true that that women don't necessarily owe anybody anything, there's a reason why we always wanted women to just stay at the house and just chill out, just be seen and not heard, don't go out in society. And this is the reason why, right? She's talking about how I don't owe anyone anything. I can just exist. I can just do whatever I want. And the problem is in society, we have a way that we conduct ourselves. And when that way is not met, violence typically happens, right? Violence typically happens when you don't conduct yourself a certain way. And it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with the violence, right? I don't have my clip ready. I don't have it ready. I had another clip that I was going to show you guys. At the end of the day, you guys have to understand society operates a very particular kind of way, and everybody is expected to act a certain kind of way. And when people don't act that certain kind of way, what happens? Bad things happen. They always happen. But so now we have this woman who's talking about, well, I don't owe you anything. Well, okay, do men owe you anything? Do men owe it to you to be civil? Do men owe it to you to be nice? Oh, well, you owe me civility. You owe it to me to not make me nervous. You owe it to me to not, walk behind me when I'm going to my car at night, whether or not you mean me harm, but I don't owe you anything. But it's not about owing someone. It's about being a pleasant member of society. She's talking about little boys. She is one at a glance. At a glance, yeah. She's not the most attractive person, but Yeah, and Pyro the Flame King. So you know what? She's right. And men don't owe women anything. Yeah. And see, and this is the problem. A lot of people, and I always like to go back to the black community because I'm black, obviously. A lot of black people will say, I don't owe the white man nothing. I don't owe nobody nothing. I'll walk around dressed however I want. I'll walk around and I'll act however I want. But okay, well, the way you dress, the way you act, the way you look, you put no effort into being a member of a pleasant society. You don't greet anyone. You don't say hi to anyone. You don't endure yourself to the society. No one cares. You don't care about anybody. And what does it do? It leads you and others like you to have an I don't care attitude. And it collectively lowers the cohesion of society. So you have women who say, I don't owe you anything. Okay, yeah, you don't owe me anything. But why do you want to be that version of a person? Then everybody you interact with, everybody you deal with, in your eyes, because you already have a negative connotation, you already have a negative thought process, everybody's the bad guy. So now you're in a bad mood all day. Everybody you encounter is a bad person. This is the kind of person who hops online and says, Monday, I ran into a jerk. Tuesday, I ran into a jerk. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I ran into a jerk. If you keep running into jerks, you're clearly the problem. It's you. You clearly, if you're running into jerks morning, noon, and night all week long, you're the problem. But this happens when you have this negative connotation. I don't have to look a certain way. I don't have to. Okay, well, you don't. You don't. But why are you so negative? And then when somebody doesn't give you what you want out of them in society, when a man walks around in an authoritative manner, he talks in a rough, gruff manner, you want to say he's a misogynist, he hates women, this, that, and the third, right? It's called being a member of a respectable society. It's called treating people well, right? It's called having decorum in society. Not too long ago, acting like a jerk in society, dressing like an idiot in society would get you slapped up. The Wild West. The days of the gunslingers. You couldn't just walk outside dressed however you wanted. Go to places like LA. You can't just wear whatever. I'll wear whatever I want. I'll do whatever I want. Okay, but the gangs don't go for that. Right? You have some women who just want to be miserable. There are some women out there who just want to be miserable. And then they want you to treat them still like a woman. I want to be miserable. Why? Why you want to be miserable? But this is the person, this is your prize. Imagine marrying this woman. Imagine you go out there and you meet this woman on a good day. You meet her on a good day and y'all hit it off. You ask her on a date. For whatever reason, you catch her in the 6-month period of her life where she's actually a reasonable, personable person. Y'all start dating, y'all start mating, y'all get married. You're married to that. And all of a sudden, just like Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, she rips the mask off and lights your ass up. I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe you my body. I don't got to give you no sex. I ain't got to clean no dishes. I don't got to do nothing. It's like, what? This is like, I'm glad she's showing who she is up front, but this is what a lot of guys are running into. That's your prize. You get to know this woman. You give her a chance. You get past the rough exterior, and what happens? Raw. Hey, get over here. Looking, man, come on. This is what I'm talking about. So when we say women aren't the prize, this is the reason why. Everything that they're doing right now is in an effort to make themselves less desirable from all facets. You treat them well. I don't like you because you treated me too well. You marry the woman and she tells you, I need a safe space and I need time and I need a clean environment. I can't just have sex with you. You go to France, you're getting cheated on and you can't get no proof. You try to help somebody have a baby and y'all got a contract betwixt the two of you and she violates the contract and you go to jail. This is what we're doing. But women are the prize. So that's why they hate the question, what do you bring to the table? Problems? Problems? You can't be, like Red said, they can't be the prize when it's a net negative. Overall, it's a big negative. And the way you negate the negative is by having, you have to have defined gender roles. This is why I tell you guys, when you hear people like women talking about partner, this is my partner. When people say stuff like partner, that comes from the gay community. And it makes it this amorphous thing, like nobody has a defined role. When a man has a defined role and a woman has a defined role, there's still going to be stress within that relationship. But her stress isn't necessarily my stress, and my stress isn't her stress, right? This is why we tell a man, you're not supposed to stress a woman out with what goes on at work. Just go grab a beer, do some push-ups, come home, kiss your kids, love your wife. Don't stress your husband out, right? Like most people had life figured out. This is once again why I talked about the pyramids. I know that sounded super weird. There was ancient knowledge that we had that built the pyramids. We don't have it anymore. There was ancient knowledge we had about women and about kids and about family and about community, and we don't have it anymore. The reason the woman was given the kids and they were just pushed off, all right, you take care of the kids and I'm going to just work. The reason it was like that is because the man was designed by God or nature, whatever you believe in, work until you die. Retirement is a fairly recent concept. You're going to work till you die. And you're probably going to die before the woman. Like if she makes it through childbirth, she's going to outlive you. So you're supposed to work until you die. And she's supposed to take care of those kids because those kids are going to have this overwhelming sense of duty toward their mother who raised them. So they're going to cross oceans to get back to mom. Oh no, my mom is getting old. I got to get back to her. I'm going to take care of my mom. Right? The only way the kids are going to love you like that is if you were the one who put in that sacrifice. And even beyond that, we had agrarian societies, right? This idea of I'm going to work a 9 to 5 and the woman is going to be a homemaker, that's recent. That started in what, the 1940s, 50s? This is all recent. So this idea that there's not supposed to be defined gender roles is cuckoo, is crazy. Society doesn't work when everybody can just do everything. And then you got women over here saying, I don't owe you nothing. I don't have to smile. I don't have to be a productive member of society. I don't have to be a polite member of society. Well, why? Why can't you just not be an ass? But that's how this is what happens. So when you guys start saying this, or when people start saying women are the prize, are they really? What does the prize contribute to the person who won the prize? Is the prize contributing to the community? Right? You should want to contribute to your community. Most women don't. You just saw this one. I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe nobody in the community nothing. But that's supposed to be a prize. She's going to withhold sex from you. Why? I don't have a clean environment. The kids touch me too many times. The kids touch me 6 times a day, so I don't want to have sex with you. What? It's just absolutely crazy. So I'm not going to say there aren't women who are not a prize. There are women who are a prize. There are women out there who are a prize. They are a benefit to their family. They are a prize and a benefit to their husband. There are. I see them. I work with them. I interact with them on a weekly basis. I see their family structure. I've known their husbands for over a decade or pushing a decade. I know. But like I said before, I'm in a privileged position. I work and I deal with very unique individuals. The average person, that man's wife is a liability. Yeah, Pyro, that we give birth. I birthed the kid. That makes me the prize. What? Well, who's taking care of you while you birth the kid, and who takes care of you after you birth the kid, and who's putting up this house? And women, because they think that because they also make money in today's society, that, you know, that gives them a leg up. And it's like, okay, it's good that you make money. It's good that you have opportunities, but you're not built to work until you're 65. Men are. Men are built to work the long haul. You weren't supposed to have the hard life. You wanted to compete with me. So now she can't be feminine. Chris said cats give birth too. Roaches give birth. Like everything in nature gives birth. To everything in nature, every organic thing in nature, there's a male version and a female version. There's a male and a female version of trees. I didn't know that until recently. I didn't know there were male trees and female trees, but it makes sense because pollen is basically tree sperm and whatnot. But like everything in nature has a male and a female version of it. So this, I give birth. So what? And then they want to say, well, I give birth and I also work. You work because you can't find a man who's willing to sacrifice his life for you because you're such an awful person walking around talking about, I don't owe nobody nothing. I don't have to smile. I don't have to be thin. I don't have to shave my legs. It's like, you don't have to, but why just be, why be that? Like, it's like, what are we talking about? So that's, you know, I'm not going to drag this. I'm just going to say, I want you guys to just think logically. Are women actually the prize? Because we already know. We know that men are not always the prize. We see crappy men. But like I told you about the women in the military that I've seen, they'll go out there, get a degree, join the military, and then they seek out the worst kind of guy when there's a good man waiting for them. The good men finish last. You guys know that. So we know that there's men who ain't no prize, but we also openly admit you should be avoiding them. Men will hold each other accountable. I'll tell you in an instant, don't date this dude. He's a dirtbag. He has no upside. There's no upside potential with this guy, nothing. Men do this all the time. We tell you all the time, that's the good guy. That's the bad guy. Avoid him. Avoid people like him. And women just won't do it. So then we're supposed to feel bad for them when they get screwed over 100 times. Meanwhile, when a man gets screwed over because he was dating a stripper, what do we say? I told you. We told you. So men are holding each other accountable, but women are openly choosing the wrong thing. They have the freedom to choose and to do whatever they want, and they always choose wrong, but somehow they're the prize. Go ask the men in France, are women the prize? Go ask the men over there in France, are women the prize? You might be surprised at what they say. So I'm not going to hold y'all, man. It's been great. Thank you guys for all the donations. I might not be here tomorrow. I got to let my voice rest. I have to acclimate to streaming every day. But I do sincerely appreciate all the support. You guys take care of yourself and peace.